The Maamtrasna murders remain one of the darkest and most unsettling crimes Ireland has ever seen, not only for the brutality of the killings, but for the shocking injustice that followed. It was the night of December 17th, 1882, deep in the remote mountains between Galway and Mayo. The moon hung low over Lough Mask, and the Joyce family, a poor Irish-speaking household, settled in for the night. Their tiny cottage was cold and quiet, surrounded by miles of empty bogland. Around midnight, the silence shattered. A group of armed men surrounded the house. They kicked the door in and stormed inside. What happened next would horrify the entire country. The attackers beat and shot every member of the Joyce family, brutally, without hesitation. John Joyce, the father, was killed instantly. His wife Brigid died trying to shield their children. Their young daughter was murdered. Only one boy, Michael Joyce, survived long enough to whisper what little he saw. But the killers had vanished into the darkness as quickly as they came. The British authorities responded with urgency, but also with something far more dangerous: a demand for quick justice. Within days, 10 local men were arrested. Most spoke only Irish. The trials, conducted entirely in English, offered no translators. The accused barely understood the charges against them. Under pressure, 2 men, Anthony Philbin and Thomas Casey, agreed to turn informant. They testified that a man named Miles Joyce, along with several others, carried out the murders. Miles Joyce insisted on his innocence. He begged for an interpreter. He said he had no idea why he was being accused, but the court refused him. At the sentencing, Miles cried out, in Irish, "I am innocent. I never harmed anyone. God knows I am innocent." The judge could not understand him. 3 men, including Miles Joyce, were sentenced to death. The others received long prison terms. On December 15th, 1882, at Galway jail, Miles Joyce was brought to the gallows, still pleading in Irish that he had nothing to do with the murders. Witnesses later said the priest at his side was the only person who understood his final words. Years later, what the people of Maamtrasna suspected all along finally became clear. The men convicted were not the true killers. The real attackers, a different local faction, escaped justice entirely. Philbin and Casey eventually confessed that they lied in court to save themselves. They said Miles Joyce was innocent. The government ignored it. More than 130 years passed before Ireland finally acknowledged the truth. In 2018, President Michael D. Higgins issued a full pardon for Miles Joyce, the first ever posthumous presidential pardon for a case from that era. The government described the conviction as a shameful miscarriage of justice. But for the Joyce family of Maamtrasna, the truth came far too late. The cottage where they were murdered no longer stands. Only the rocky hillside remains, quiet and windswept. Local people say that on winter nights, when the wind moves down the valley, you can still hear faint echoes across Lough Mask, whispers of the night justice failed, and an innocent man died for a crime he didn't commit.